Today marks 5 years since the January 6th insurrection on the United States Capitol, and I want to take a second here and apologize for my bad take on this anniversary earlier today. I actually pumped the brakes on making a video on this subject this morning because I wanted to spend a little time reading back through historical accounts, kind of reflecting on what happened 5 years ago and what has happened since. I read some think pieces by other folks, and I was looking at what people were saying on Substack. Right, Jasmine Crockett said 5 years ago today, Donald Trump incited a violent insurrection to overturn the results of a free and fair election. He lost. Calling it anything else is a lie. Totally agree with that. It absolutely was a violent insurrection. I think we've been relatively numbed to how violent it was, and it's good to go back and watch videos and look at photos from that day. There were rallies in some places by right-wingers who I guess were celebrating this disgraceful anniversary. And then I got sucked down this piece by John Pavlovitz about the January 6th insurrection. It's entitled "The Insurrection Didn't Fail, It Just Took 5 Years." And I found a lot of what John said really resonating with me. At that moment in time, on January 6th, I thought, okay, this is awful, this is scary, but this is going to be a pivotal moment in American history. This is going to be a catalyst that wakes people up to the ways that we are being exploited by the super rich, the ways that authoritarianism has been slowly creeping forward for many years, the way that the problem of MAGA is not just going to go away because Joe Biden got elected. I was very wrong. And John's entire piece is about how he likewise thought that this would be a turning point for us in a way that it wasn't, that the failure of the insurrection would result in accountability and justice being sought by our elected officials. That did not happen. Merrick Garland failed all of us. I love to say that I will never forgive him because I will never forgive him. Joe Biden failed all of us. There was some posturing. There was the January 6th Commission, and I think that there were elected officials on that commission who earnestly sought justice. It was denied, all of us. We, the American people, have been denied justice for the insurrection on January 6th. It's hard to look at what happened on January 6th and everything that has happened in the last 5 years since, including Donald Trump pardoning all of the insurrectionists, except for a couple who refused to take a pardon and took accountability for their actions. And it's really hard to look at what has happened in the last year and not think that the insurrection didn't end on January 6th. It just took 5 years to run to completion, that the insurrection has been ongoing. And that a big component of that is the way that establishment politicians, elected officials have failed us over and over. They have failed to tenaciously pursue justice for the American people. So I spent a few minutes in like a not great headspace this morning. And I think it's difficult for us, all that has happened in the intervening years. We've kind of forgotten how severe the insurrection was on January 6th. And it isn't even just a matter of going back and refreshing our memory and watching those clips and looking at those photos and reading the articles. I think that's important. But gosh, even in the moment, even when it was happening on live TV, we were being gaslit. We were being gaslit by politicians. We were being gaslit by corporate legacy media into believing what we were seeing with our own eyes is less than what was actually unfolding. What a shameful, shameful day in American history. Not unlike Donald Trump's actions in Venezuela this week. Another shameful day in American history. And as I was reading through all of this and watching these clips this morning, I just kept thinking, wow, the far right in this country is so much more patient than the political left. They're really, really good at scheming in a way that prioritizes the long game. They have a level of patience and long suffering and perseverance that we don't seem to have on the political left. And it's not just with the insurrection, right? Insurrection started January 6th 5 years ago and has been slowly rolling out since then. But also the Heritage Foundation, so many other, the moral majority, so many other conservative, far-right fringe, especially white Christian nationalist movements in this country, perfectly content to slowly infiltrate our schools, slowly infiltrate elected offices all across the country on a local level. They are infiltrating churches, have been infiltrating churches for decades, indoctrinating people for decades. They have been very patient. They have laid the foundation. They have built the scaffolding to get us to the moment we're in now. And maybe I'll talk about this in the next video, but I get frustrated with other people who are like, why don't we have general strikes right now? Why is it that, hundreds of millions of Americans are not walking off the job? Well, because we haven't laid the foundation. Y'all want a quick magical fix out of this. You want one big action that happens in one day and for this nightmare to go away. Too many people on the political left want a quick fix when there is no quick fix to be had. And people on the right seem to understand that. They seem to understand that it is a slow game. It is about slowly building power, slowly eroding, for them, eroding the pillars of democracy. For us, eroding the pillars of fascism is a slow game. Slow and steady wins the race. The far right has understood that. And I think the January 6th insurrection is really, really good evidence of that fact. And I'm personally frustrated with people on the political left who are engaging in this magical thinking where they want it all to be over. Just because you want it to be over and you haven't laid the groundwork to actually implement effective plans to stop this, okay. I got into an argument a little bit with some Canadians and Europeans in my comments, particularly on Facebook, who are like, Americans aren't doing enough. This hasn't been, Donald Trump hasn't been stopped yet. Do you want to look at other resistance movements and realize how many years it takes them to accomplish their goals? There is no quick fix. What you want is your distress reduced. But that doesn't match the reality of what is required to build a resistance movement that has the kind of muscles that can be flexed to stop this. And again, God, Republicans get that. The far right gets that. And why don't we get that? Why don't we get it? Where is our patience? Where is our slow building? I think actually Indivisible's done a really good job of understanding the way that power is slowly built and aggregated. I think that is very true, but a lot of other folks, no. Okay, so I realize I'm 6.5 minutes in and I haven't gotten to my apology yet, so let me get there now. I was too quick on the draw and posted both on Facebook and on my YouTube channel. I just made a post, not a video, where I said that I had seen somebody say that the January 6th insurrection didn't fail. It just took 5 years to take effect. And that's not right. That's not right. And I apologize for saying that. I was in a moment where I was feeling pretty negative after watching all of this footage and rereading accounts of what happened. When I posted that, I don't think that I really thought through the implications of saying that the insurrection took 5 years to take effect. Because within a few moments of posting that to my YouTube page, Nettie HK, shout out Nettie, thank you, corrected me and said, they haven't won yet, don't believe it. That's the right take. My take was wrong. Nettie's take was correct. We are still mid-insurrection. The regime is still trying to seize control. There are still people resisting, and the resistance is growing. I think that perspective is incredibly helpful. It doesn't feel great to realize we are still mid-insurrection, but they haven't accomplished all of their goals. We are actively resisting in so many ways they didn't expect. They are failing in so many ways because they're really, really bad at doing fascism, but also because the people refuse to lay down and accept it. So I sincerely apologize to anybody who I discouraged wrongfully this morning by making it sound like the insurrection accomplished its goals. It happened and the United States is taken over. No, the United States still belongs to the American people. This is still our country, and we are in the process of reclaiming our power. It's still mid-insurrection, so that means we have the opportunity to come in and abort it and cut it off and restore a stable government in this country. And I really think that's what 2026 is going to be about. If you, like me, watched a bunch of footage about January 6th, if you got really down about what's happened in the last 5 years and the way our elected officials have failed to get justice for us, failed to stabilize the government and protect democracy, I really hope that just solidifies for you that power lies with the people. It's up to us to save us. Who keeps us safe? We keep us safe. The American people have to organize and stop this. We can't expect a savior. We can't expect politicians to save us. They have failed to save us for 5 years. How do we look at the last 5 years through the lens of resistance, taking tally of the successes that we've had and realizing that it is us, reframing the situation to no longer expect the January 6th Commission or an attorney general, any member of government to save us, but reframing the situation to understand that it is we, the people, and what we do now during this year that really, really matters. Cool. Our job this year is to stop an ongoing insurrection against the United States, against the American people, against democracy. Let's go. Let's do it.